Your phone made it through the night on a full charge, and by 2 in the afternoon, you are hunting for a wall outlet with 40% remaining and falling fast. You blame the apps you have open. You blamed the screen brightness. You blamed getting older hardware that cannot hold a charge the way it used to. But there is a specific hidden setting running continuously in the background of your Android phone right now that is consuming measurable battery power every single hour of every single day without providing you any visible benefit in return. And the overwhelming majority of Android users have never seen this setting, never been told about it, and have no idea it is the primary reason their phone battery tells a different story by midday than it did the night before. This video shows you exactly where that setting lives, exactly what it is doing to your battery, and exactly how to turn it off permanently in the next 5 minutes before you lose another afternoon to battery anxiety. The setting responsible for this is the combination of background data synchronization, continuous location access, and the always-on connectivity that certain applications maintain even when you have not opened them in days or weeks. Every application installed on your Android phone exists in one of two states at any given moment: the foreground state, where you're actively using it, and the background state, where you have closed it or switched to something else. What most users do not realize is that background state does not mean inactive or dormant. Dozens of applications on your phone are configured to perform continuous background operations, including checking for new content, synchronizing data to remote servers, accessing your location to build advertising profiles, maintaining persistent connections to notification infrastructure, and running behavioral monitoring processes that generate commercial data. The application description never mentioned. Every one of these background operations consumes battery power. Or everyone draws on your processor. Everyone uses your mobile data or wireless connection. And every single one is happening right now on your phone without your active involvement or conscious permission at this moment. The first setting you need to find is inside the battery section of your Android settings application. The navigation path varies slightly between manufacturers, but on most current Android devices, you find it by opening Settings and scrolling to Battery or Device Care, depending on whether you use a Samsung device. Inside the battery section, look for an option called Background Usage Limits, Sleeping Apps, or App Power Management, depending on your specific Android version and manufacturer. This section identifies applications consuming significant battery in the background and allows you to restrict or suspend their background activity entirely. On Samsung devices specifically, there's a section called Sleeping Apps. Containing applications the system has automatically identified as battery consumers when not actively used. Every application in this list that you do not genuinely need receiving background updates should be moved to the deep sleep category. Social media applications you check manually, shopping applications, games you open, occasionally, news readers, and any application you have not opened in more than a week all belong in deep sleep. The single change prevents those applications from consuming processor cycles, network connections, and battery capacity during every hour you're not actively using them. The location permission audit is the second critical component, and the one producing the most immediate and significant battery improvement for the majority of Android users who complete it. Open Settings, then Location, then App Permissions. You will see a complete list of every application granted some form of location access on your device. The categories are Allow all the time, Allow only while using the app, and Deny. The Allow all the time category is where your battery drain problem is concentrated. Every application in that category is receiving your GPS coordinates continuously throughout the entire day, regardless of whether you have the application open or have used it recently. Your phone's GPS receiver must remain active and drawing power to service these continuous location requests. Your processor must process and transmit the location data. Your cellular or wireless radio must maintain the connection to deliver it. On a typical Android phone with default settings, there are between 4 and 12 applications in the Allow all the time location category that have no genuine functional requirement for knowing your location continuously throughout the day. Social media applications, tracking your physical movements for advertising targeting are the most common offenders in this category. Shopping applications, building location-based behavioral profiles, representing the second most frequent problem. Weather applications that update automatically without being opened are the third. Navigation applications like Google Maps need location access, while the application is open to provide directions, but have absolutely no legitimate need to access your location while running in the background between navigation sessions. Go through the Allow all the time list methodically and move every application without a specific and genuine functional need for continuous location access to allow only while using the app. Every social media application should be moved without exception. Every shopping application should be moved. Every application in the list where you cannot immediately identify a concrete operational reason for continuous location access should be moved immediately. The battery improvement from this single change typically ranges from a 15 to 25% of total daily battery consumption. depending on how many applications were in the continuous location access category. The third setting involves your wireless and cellular radio management, and specifically a feature called Wi-Fi scanning or Bluetooth scanning that Android enables by default to improve location service accuracy. When Wi-Fi scanning is enabled, your phone continuously scans for available wireless networks even when your Wi-Fi connection is off or when you are already connected to your home network. This continuous scanning keeps your wireless radio active and drawing power throughout the day rather than only during active connections. Find this setting by opening Settings, then Location Services, or Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning, depending on your Android version and manufacturer. Disable both Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning in this section completely. Your GPS-based and network-based location continues functioning correctly for navigation and location-dependent applications after disabling these scanning options. What you eliminate is the continuous background radio activity consuming battery to provide location refinement that you were never consciously using or visibly benefiting from during normal daily use. The account sync settings represent the fourth critical area where background battery consumption accumulates without obvious benefit. Open Settings, then Accounts or Users and Accounts, then your Google account, then Account Sync. You will see every Google service set to synchronize automatically in the background on a continuous schedule. Contacts, Calendar, and Gmail Sync represent legitimate, continuous synchronization requirements that most users genuinely benefit from keeping active. Chrome History Sync, Google Fit Sync, Google Play Sync, and the various additional Google Service Sync options actively consume battery to keep data updated that most users check manually at intervals not requiring continuous background updates. Disable automatic sync for every service in that list that you do not actively rely on receiving immediate background notifications from. Manual sync by pulling down to refresh within any specific application remains available whenever you want current data without maintaining continuous background synchronization, consuming battery throughout your day. The fifth area most users overlook entirely involves notification delivery infrastructure. Every application that can send you push notifications maintains a persistent background connection to a remote server monitoring for new notification events. This connection consumes both battery and data continuously, even when no notifications are actually being delivered. Open Settings, then Apps, then Review Notifications for each installed application. For every application where you receive notifications you actually want and act on, keep notifications enabled. For every application delivering notifications you routinely dismiss without reading, sending you promotional content or notifying you about events you have no interest in, disable notifications entirely. Disabling notifications for an application eliminates its reason for maintaining a persistent background server connection, which removes both the network activity and the battery consumption associated with that connection from your daily budget. The display settings connection to battery drain deserves specific attention because the screen is the single largest power consumer on any smartphone, and certain display configurations amplify this consumption significantly. Always-on display, showing a persistent clock and notification indicators even when the screen is not actively in use, is a convenient feature carrying a measurable and continuous battery cost throughout every hour of the day and night. On Samsung devices, always-on display has been measured consuming between 5 and 8% of daily battery capacity, depending on the model and content being displayed. If you experience battery drain and have always-on display enabled, disabling it in Settings under Lock Screen recovers that 5 to 8% of daily capacity immediately without affecting any other functionality. The refresh rate setting is equally significant, with 120 Hz display refresh consuming measurably more power than 60 Hz on every device offering the choice, setting your display to an adaptive refresh rate mode rather than a locked maximum rate. Allows the system to reduce refresh rate during static content like reading or viewing photographs, and reduces display power consumption accordingly without sacrificing the smooth scrolling experience during active navigation and interaction. Find the setting in Settings, then Display, then Motion Smoothness or Screen Refresh Rate depending on your manufacturer. The Always-On Connection section in Developer Options on Android contains a setting called Stay Awake that some applications enable to prevent the screen from turning off during their operation. While intended for specific development and testing purposes, this setting can be accidentally left active or enabled by certain applications and will prevent your display from sleeping normally during periods of inactivity, consuming significant battery continuously. If you have enabled developer options on your device, check this setting specifically and ensure it is disabled. The background battery drain accumulating from all of these sources combined, continuous location access from multiple applications, background application synchronization, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning, persistent notification connections, always on display, and maximum refresh rate represents a total daily battery consumption that independent testing across multiple Android device models has consistently measured at between 30 and 45% of the total daily battery budget on devices configured with typical manufacturer default settings. Recovering 30 to 45% of your daily battery through settings, changes requiring 15 minutes and no new hardware is not a marginal improvement. It is the difference between a phone that demands charging by mid-afternoon and one that reliably reaches the end of your day with comfortable reserve remaining for unexpected needs. The order in which to make these changes matters practically. Start with the location permission audit because it produces the fastest visible improvement and takes less than 5 minutes to complete. Follow immediately with the background usage limits or sleeping apps configuration to prevent applications from running background processes during hours you are not using them. Disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning in the location services section. Review and restrict accounts sync to only the services requiring genuinely continuous updates. Disable notifications from applications delivering content you routinely ignore. Adjust display settings to disable always-on display and set refresh rate to adaptive mode. Complete the entire sequence in one sitting and your battery level at the same time. Tomorrow will tell you more clearly than any benchmark test exactly how much of your daily charge was being consumed by settings you never consciously configured and never received any meaningful benefit from maintaining. Subscribe for ongoing coverage of the specific settings on every major platform that protect your hardware performance and extend the practical daily usefulness of the devices you depend on every single day.